A secret relationship. The Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is longsuffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but that all should come to repentance. 2 Peter 3:9. I went to bed early that night. I was sound asleep when suddenly my phone rang. Half awake and half asleep, I got up and picked up the phone. It was a deaconess whom I had been acquainted with for quite a long time, but had not really kept in touch. I could sense from her subdued voice that she was going to tell me or ask me something serious or out of the ordinary. Then her question completely woke me up at once. Could you teach the Bible to a prostitute? I had never met someone who worked in that field. So many thoughts went through my mind, and I did not know what to say. I was worried that I may be negatively influenced by being involved with her. At that moment, however, a thought came to my mind. If Jesus were me, he would have said yes without any hesitation. So, instead of asking or saying anything, I simply said yes. Half curious and half concerned, I went to see her. Contrary to my expectation that her appearance would be provocative with vividly colored long fingernails, she looked quite ordinary and far from a stereotypical prostitute. She was in her mid-20s. She began to calmly talk about her past. As I listened, I was surprised by how logically she spoke and how bright she was. But most of all, I was surprised by her earnest desire to get to know God. She was frustrated and distressed about not being able to control her mind. I want to love people and get close to them. I want to be a genuine friend to them. But every time I find myself retaliating against people for their wrongdoing to me in a cruel and vicious way, I feel hatred and fear toward myself. I always seem to have two minds, one that wants to forgive, and the other that wants to hate and kill. I have always chosen the latter. As a result, I have no friends. I am extremely lonely and I hate to be alone. I have even gone to see a psychiatrist, and they said that I have dissociative identity disorder and schizophrenia. Their prescription didn't work. I have tried going to church, and every way I could find, but nothing worked for me. What should I do now? I am in so much agony that I simply want to die. The circumstances that led her to becoming a prostitute were unavoidable. She genuinely wanted to leave her occupation. Yet, she was struggling because she could not find another job to make a living. She had little education and money. All she had was mental illness that stemmed from languishing in the very occupation she did not want to be in. She started going to churches in the hope of acquiring the power to control her mind. However, she could not find one that provided an answer to quench her thirst. She asked me why she was feeling more perplexed and distressed as she goes to church. She had a complete misunderstanding about God. She said that she had been studying the Bible from many different people. The God she knew was someone who throws all non-believers into hell and leaves them to suffer in the fire forever. According to her understanding, The more time and wealth you give, the more blessings you store in heaven. If you fail to do so, you are exempted from salvation. In other words, the ones who will be saved have already been decided. She said that she really wants to know whether she is destined to be saved or perish. And once she finds out that her fate is to perish, she would give up on salvation and no longer wander around for hope. When she was young, there were times when she felt that she was saved, and then there were other times when she felt that she was not. She was wondering if it was faith that led her to become a prostitute. I walked her through the Bible. As she learned, she told me that it was completely different from what she had known all along. She shed tears when she realized that God is not someone to be afraid of, but someone who is love. She also admitted the fact that her continuous choices formed her habits, which eventually became her character. She finally realized the fact that it was her own choices that led her to live the way she currently was living. She moaned as she repeatedly nodded her head and said, "After all, everything was decided by my choices." "Why didn't I know that before?" she went on. "Two thoughts, two minds, two ways, free will, the power of choice. Oh, how I wish I could have known this earlier. But I believe it's not too late yet, for I am still young. If I choose the Lord and call upon His name, He will extend His helping hand to me, right? Without a doubt, He will surely help you." She took off her glasses and wiped the tears that continuously flowed down her face. "Now I can be free from prostitution because I will recognize His voice and choose to follow Him." She grinned as she laughed and cried over and over. I believe that the secret relationship between her and me was established by the guidance and providence of the Lord, for she and I would have never met each other under normal circumstances. It was His amazing way of leading a lost soul to save her.